like, where is he,
Yeah.
you know, cheerleader-wise.
And he'll move around.
Uh-huh. Do we have that thing on wheels? That'd be sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a country with
No, but he'll probably buy the shoes that have wheels on them.
all who are serving and all who have served. Please stand and join in the singing of our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Tonight's anthem is being performed by the Chestnut Band under the direction of Liz and Franklin.
Long time introducing the cheerleaders.
All righty, welcome to Grand Lake Health System Court for a cross-county rivalry match between your St. Mary's Memorial Rough Riders and the Wapakoneta Redskins. Wapakoneta comes to Grand Lake Health System Court possessing a 3-1 record with their lone WBL loss, an overall loss to Ottawa Glandorf last Friday. St. Mary's matches that same record at 3-1 with a loss last week on the trip north on 66 to Defiance. They are 3-1 as well. Joining me tonight is Kelly J, as well as just arriving Derek J. Thanks for being here.
Oh, excited to be here for another night of Rough Rider basketball.
Gotta love a good rivalry night.
It is rivalry night, and it's going to be a good one. Both teams coming off of those losses last Friday in the opening round of WBL. So, you know, obviously nobody wants to go to 0-2 right out of the gate in WBL play. So, should be a hard-fought battle between these two teams and differently matched teams.
Yeah, Wapak had the misfortune of opening their WBL schedule with OG, and obviously OG is a perennial favorite in the WBL, and lost 54-40. And then St. Mary's on the other side had an unenviable long trip to Defiance. Nobody likes to make that long trip. And start out with a very, very strong defensive Defiance Bulldog team, and lost that game 48-35. So, you know, both teams looking to get off, you know, off the snide and get heading in the right direction.
Yeah, to avenge those losses, and like I mentioned, nobody wants to get out of the gate 0-2 in league play.
Right.
One of these teams tonight are going to. And I had the fortune to go watch OG play last Friday with my cousin, who had an extra seat. And Ottawa Glandorf, that was their first game, and it looked like they were in about game 12. They were just seasoned and ready to go. And quite frankly, may have seen one of the better, if not the top, WBL player in Mr. White, who was only a sophomore. I had to look at that 3 times to make certain that was correct. We'll see them right at the beginning of the year. But we've got Wapak and St. Mary's as Mr. J, the public address announcer, is introducing alternating starters for the Redskins and the Rough Riders. Number 3, Zach Rogers, has been introduced for the Redskins. And he just introduced number 15,
Braden Sullivan for the Rough Riders.
Number 4, Caden Seifring, introduced for the Redskins.
Senior Andrew Moore for the Rough Riders back in the starting lineup.
And very talented and athletic player being introduced for the Redskins, number 10, Braden Goulet.
Getting into the strength of the Rough Rider lineup, our size, obviously. We have Evan Anksman, a 6'6" sophomore.
Number 13, Grant Bauer for the Redskins.
Again, great size for the Rough Riders, 6'6", Jace Turner.
And rounding it out for the Wapakoneta Redskins, wearing number 14, Jackson Corder.
6'10" Austin Parks. Don't need to say a whole lot more about him. And last week had kind of a tough outing last week, mostly because of what Defiance did, and it was a gang defense with him in the middle. It didn't have much room to operate, and I'm sure he's going to want to kind of redeem himself from that performance. However, everybody has huddle, and everybody's going to have access to those games, and I'm sure that a lot of teams are looking at that as the blueprint and how to stop the Rough Riders. So it's going to be important for our guards to knock down some shots tonight, get a little penetration, break down their defense a little bit, and put a little pressure on them that way.
And per the usual, St. Mary's wins a tip as Anksman fires up the first three. Nothing but net. That's the perimeter game you just spoke of.
Right.
Looks good early out of the gate with 10 seconds off the clock. Anksman makes this a 3-0 score. Thinking about the keys of the game, getting to watch Wapak a little bit last week, they really attacked the basket with a lot of penetration. And Rogers is their outside perimeter threat, who on the drive there stepped out of bounds. Could have possibly been called a foul. The Wapakoneta Redskins were hoping for. But the keys to the game for St. Mary's, Parks. And how does St. Mary's deal with Parks being jammed down by not one defender, not two defenders, three defenders at times, in the perimeter play and Jace Turner's play? A little bit of struggle here for Sullivan. Finds the release valve to Parks up at the volleyball line.
Wapak's in a man, and if you look at your matchups, we got Caden Seifring, a 6-foot senior guarding Parks in the middle. So huge mismatch.
Wapak is giving up a lot of size, and Seifring, 6 foot. He does play strong and a lot bigger than what the height displays there, but he's given up a tremendous amount, as all of Wapak is on size for their opponent, the Rough Riders.
And if you watch that possession right there, Wapak did a great job of everybody turning, finding a guy, and boxing out. And that'll be a huge key for Wapak tonight.
And Derek, that's perfect. My third key for Wapak was to limit those second chance opportunities for St. Mary's. And they've got to Wapak has to make somebody else other than Parks beat them. Anksman, the only scorer of this contest, was 6'10" on the Fowler TV scoreboard. Parks doubled up, becomes a passer, opposite side from Sullivan, down low to Turner. Beautiful thing, the sophomore there, he did not bring that ball down. He caught it high, kept it high, kisses it off the glass. St. Mary's with an early 5-0 lead here at the Grand Lake Health System court.
Parks did a nice job of being patient, looking to see where the double came from and making the pass out of that. Again, Wapak does not have a lot of good size. And so as long as Austin keeps the ball up and is patient, I think he's going to be able to make those passes and eventually, hopefully, get some scores. But yeah.
Or just take it to the hole. Dunk it!
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Parks Place.
St. Mary's DECA just did Rideropoly and a little fun with Monopoly there, and Austin Park with the dunk meter registering 1. We'll see how many it gets to tonight. And that was just, he took it to the hole. That was his MO, and
he got single coverage and no help, and he read it very quickly and just did a beautiful spin
exploded
to baseline.
Up. Yep, it was beautiful. Got her first foul of the contest going against St. Mary's. Looks like it's going to be on Evan Anksman at the charity stripe, shooting to Zach Rogers. He hits a lot of the rim, goes out.
Rogers
Still goose egg for Redskins.
Yep, Rogers is a 9-point-a-game shooter for the Redskins.
Rogers on the second one makes good, gets Wapak a point on the Fowler's TV scoreboard. Sullivan bringing it down against pressure. Seafrain gets a hand in the passing lane. Redskins in transition. Number 13 goes up off the glass. Grant Bauer, just poor execution of delivering a pass, and results in 2 points.
Obviously, and we've seen this 3 games in a row now. The blueprint is lots of pressure on St. Mary's guards, and Sullivan's going to have to, he's going to have to expect it and take care of the ball.
And if you're just going to allow St. Mary's to get into an offensive flow and rhythm,
right.
It's good night.
If you can stand and make pretty passes into the paint, there's going to be no stopping it. So, yeah, you have to have a lot of ball pressure.
Substitution for the Redskins as Sullivan fires up a 3. No good. Rebounded by Goulet. Checking in is number 1, who nobody picked up. He fires but gets his shot blocked. Number 1 is Taylor Eccles, a sophomore for the Redskins. Nobody picked him up, and he shot the ball, but Parks recovered well, gets his shot blocked. Nice opposite block look. Great distribution by the 6', 10-inch junior, Austin Parks. Nice assist.
And Jace Turner did a great job cutting to the basket, saw his man go over and help. There were 3 people on him at that point in time. Somebody's going to be open.
KJ, when we did the St. Henry Redskin game, there was a turning point for St. Mary's that really widened the gap on the score, and that's when St. Mary's picked up their defensive pressure, and it looks like they're really getting after it and getting the passing lanes, extending very high for the Redskins to make any type of pass.
Right, they've got pretty much a 5-out offense that they're running. You'll see some people stop every now and then and post, but it's a quickly pop out again. And Goulet did it on that possession. He went down, set a screen, then popped out.
It's going to be a turnover on the Rough Riders. That defensive pressure on the ball handler is going to see turnover number 2 for Sullivan, and checking in is number 0, junior Jaden Lotz. Lotz checking in. Hopefully we get a good outside perimeter display by number 0 and number 3 so that we can call out. We've got lots more coming. We got Parks Place, lots more. What else do we have, KJ?
And well, Parks Place is it's a blue property in Monopoly, so that's definitely perfect for St. Mary's. And it is the most expensive property, I think, on the board.
It definitely is. Shot was up by number 12, Zach Niekamp, rebounded by the Rough Riders.
And Anksman with a nice rebound there.
Lotz to the top of the key to Anksman. Throw into the passing lane. Stolen away by Zach Niekamp. Takes it up, and he's going to be fouled. I believe that's going to be number 2 early on the sophomore.
St. Mary's is running a special, and again, obviously, there's been a lot of scouting done. Everybody has access to huddle, and he anticipated that reversal pretty easily.
And our crack statistician quickly corrects me. It's only 1 on Anksman. The previous foul was on number 22, Jace Turner. Checking in for the Riders for the first time, number 20, Gavin Reinecke. Back for the Redskins into the starting lineup, number 14, Jackson Corder. Number 4, Caden Seifring takes a seat.
Zach Niekamp drills a couple free throws. He's just a sophomore for the Redskins.
There's that full court pressure from the baseline. They're going to work them baseline to baseline. Nice ball handling so far by Jaden Lotz. Hands off to Reinecke. Reinecke with the left-hand dribble. Inside to Turner. Turner back to Lotz. Going to be short on the back iron. Rebounded with a vicious elbow. Moore gets hit in the mouth, and I think he's going to get hit with the foul as well.
Yeah, he took the bad end of the stick twice there.
The Fowler's TV scoreboard, as you see in your picture, reads 9-8. Corder working against Parks. Man-to-man for the Rough Riders. Goulet distributes to Eccles. Eccles thought about firing up. Does not. Goulet likes to attack. There he does against Turner. No. Finally corralled by Moore. Hands off to Lotz. Lotz working against Neckles. That full court pressure. The Redskins know they got to get the Riders in turnover mode and not the ability to make easy entry passes, as number 23, John Buchanan, is going to be tagged for a foul. We're getting awfully close to allowing the Redskins to get in that passing lane with those long-distance passes that we're making.
We always call them flat passes, and those flat passes across there are really easy to steal. You run passing lanes, and we have to do a really good job of stepping to the pass, making crisp, hard passes, and not just blindly.
Another turnover against the Rough Riders.
Not just blindly turning and throwing it, anticipating, allowing them to anticipate the reversal.
Maybe hitting a few back doors too. If they're going to overplay that much, got to go back door and make them guard it.
Absolutely. St. Mary's is having a little bit of difficulty of taking care of the ball right now. Turned it over. Wapakoneta could take the first lead before this first quarter is over. We're just about at 1 minute.
St. Mary's is already at 4 turnovers on that point.
Moore comes up with a steal and tries to fire a bounce pass on the right block to Reinecke, tipped out of bounds by Corder. Inbound play. Reinecke fires out to Lotz. We're looking for the Lotz-Moore combination. Parks inside to Turner. Going to get a push from behind there. I think Turner was maybe expecting the entry pass to his other side instead of the right side, but nonetheless he gets fouled from behind, and it's going to be a
Jace is he gets a mismatch often because he's not 6'10". He's getting the second guy, and so the Riders are trying to get him posting to take advantage of that mismatch. He's not going to get quite as much attention as Parks.
Oh, there's a big mismatch, up and in.
That's simply turning and shooting over a 6-foot guard. Seifring didn't get any help there. He didn't have a chance of stopping that.
And that is Seifring's assignment, to try to stop Parks. Obviously, Wapak's got a jam down double and perhaps triple team to try to stop Parks, but that's the 4th point for Parks in the first quarter. And there you see Goulet. He did it masterfully against Ottawa at Glandorf, and he's doing it now, just dribbling right from the top of the key to the paint. Got a foul, and he's going to shoot 2 from the charity stripe.
Coach Hegemeyer is not going to be real happy with them getting into the middle like that. I know he always likes kids to force people baseline, and so that's something I'm sure he'll address in the quarter break here.
Lots more. Turner out. Anksman Sullivan, and seeing action for the first time, Kyle Steiniger, senior guard, in for Coach Dan Hagemeyer. Goulet makes good on the second one. Fowler TV 11, St. Mary's 9, Wapakoneta. Sullivan attacks, maybe an extra step, puts it up. Rebounded by Goulet. He's got numbers. There we have Rogers with the 3-ball. No, Anksman with the rebound. And that concludes 8 minutes of action here at Grand Lake Health System Court on the Fowler TV scoreboard. St. Mary's 11, Wapakoneta 9.
Albert Sporting Goods is here to outfit your team, both on and off the field. Since 1980, Albert Sporting Goods has serviced schools, clubs, and businesses throughout Ohio. For all of your uniform, spirit wear, and equipment needs, make it Albert Sporting Goods. Order online now at albertsportinggoods.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Mary's, proud to support Rough Rider Athletics and the Memorial Student Athletes. Join Buffalo Wild Wings for each Rough Riders football game, streamed on Rider Nation Station. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, drinks, sports.
He's got stats whenever you're done.
All righty, we're back here at Grand Lake Health System Court. Derek, how did the first quarter turn out statistically?
Austin Parks and Jace Turner both leading the Riders with 4 points, as the Riders are shooting 5 of 9 from the field, which is obviously off to a good start. I think Coach Hagemeyer just wants to get that turnover number down, starting off with 4 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah, it's real evident to see Wapakoneta's game plan here is to attack the basket and then attack our guards as soon as they are trying to bring the ball down the court. And that's going to be their recipe to try to beat the St. Mary's Rough Riders. There they are trying to attack the basket but turn it over.
Steiniger with a turnover. He did the same thing against Defiance last week. Came in the game.
Hanksman with a shot up, and it gets blocked. He's able to dive on the floor, get it, throws it, but it's a kick ball by the Wapakoneta Redskins, which they're kind of confused by, but it was definitely a kick ball.
Yeah, Steiniger last week gave the Riders a little spark in the second half, and so it'll be interesting to see if he does the same thing today.
Parks shot no good, rebounded by Goulet. Left-handers quick in transition, stopped by Steiniger, but finds right down the middle, number 13, Grant Bauer, made the cardinal sin of leaving his feet, and there takes the charge.
Evan Anksman.
Is Evan Anksman, and turnover for the Redskins and a foul on Grant Bauer. I'm assuming Grant wishes that he just would have fired that ball up, but he still would have been contending with the player control foul.
Be interesting to see how Wapak's pressure does throughout as the game progresses. Some teams, come out like a ball of fire in the first quarter, and then kind of, their pressure weans as the game goes on. So
there's the double, there's the jam. Nice job by Anksman. Beautiful job of being a distributor and cutting to the hoop, seeing the double team, lays it up and in. 5 points for Anksman as he scored the first basket, which was a trifecta for the Rough Riders. 13-9 on the Fowler TV scoreboard.
The Riders are doing a really nice job of cutting off of Austin when they're doubling. They're finding the open spot and making an easy pass to get easy shots.
There we have Corder with the 3-ball, no good. Rebound by Parks. Steiniger loses control of it. Eccles is there, and he's going to put it up off the left side and in. An unforced turnover. He was trying to make a pass, and it just slipped.
Referees may be trying to clean it up just a little bit. We've got a little hand checking going on both sides.
So they called a push off on Steiniger, I believe. No, okay. On Eccles. Steiniger with the assignment to get the ball across midcourt. get the Rough Riders in the flow of the offense. Hanksman quickly fires off the back iron. Sullivan tries to tap it. Going to be corralled by Eccles, who throws to Goulet. Goulet, the left-hander, very athletic basketball player.
This is like watching an old North Carolina four-corner offense here. You know,
Yep.
keeping things wide and spread, and then driving to the basket.
You would assume the thinking here is to get the Riders' size and space, maybe? I don't know.
Pull them away from the basket.
Coach Dan Hagemeyer wants to take a 30-second timeout with that rebound by the Rough Riders. We'll be back in 30.
Do you find yourself faced with injustice or confronted with a legal matter that you need help resolving? If so, call attorney David Walbacher at 216-225-9181. That's attorney David Walbacher for all your legal needs.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities of our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is both teams joining together in prayer at the conclusion of the game. God bless you, sports fans.
Already back here. Coach Hagemeyer took a quick 30-second timeout. Derek, what do you think he was thinking there, why he needed to settle his team down and talk about?
I'm thinking he's maybe setting something up to run in the half court. They've kind of been running the same set a couple times in a row, or maybe a press break here.
That press break was looking pretty effective there. Throw into Parks. Parks get it to Sullivan. Eccles was able to tip the ball out of bounds before Sullivan went up the left side with the layup. Reineke, the trigger man on the inbounds pass to Parks up top. Moore. Sullivan. Flare out. Parks got jammed up by 3 defenders when he was making his move to the basket. Reineke with the dish to Sullivan. 17-footer for the number 15. Sullivan, his first 2 points of the contest.
And the Rough Riders definitely need him to get a little confidence in his shooting. He's had a couple games where he hadn't shot as well, and sometimes hitting one will kind of jolt you back into a positive frame of mind.
Goulet went to work too hard, but Quarters fighting for that ball in the scrum, and we finally got a whistle.
Both cheering sections well attended for both teams.
St. Mary's student section wearing all black for the blackout, and it looks like it's ugly sweater night for the Wapakoneta Redskins.
Yes.
Bowers checks in, seeing action for the first time tonight for St. Mary's. Again, trigger into Parks.
And sometimes getting a little less pressure from other players is a nice way to help your point guard.
Ooh, dangerous pass. Parks made good on it. Reineke finds Moore. Moore thought that Sullivan was going to go right. Sullivan went left. Another turnover for the St. Mary's Rough Riders. Jaden Lotz checking in for Coach Dan Hagemeyer as Andrew Moore is going to take a seat. Rough Riders have Sullivan, Lotz, Reineke, Bowers, and Parks. Coach Hagemeyer utilizing a lot of players.
Yes, he's gone nine deep here so far tonight, with one particular person staying on the floor at all times.
Rogers fires up that 3. He's not found his range yet.
No.
Bowers with the rebound. Nice job being strong. Gets fouled from behind underneath the basket. And Wapakoneta, number 12, Zach Niekamp, is tagged with that foul.
The statistics that I was able to scrounge up wasn't provided a ton from Coach Elker, but the stuff that I was scrounging up had Rogers shooting 58% from the 3. So we definitely don't need him to get hot and get back to his normal shooting levels.
Sullivan with the penetration up, no, bounced off Goulet. He's able to get it. Quick in transition to the right side, Niekamp. Niekamp to Seifring, puts it up and in. Reineke there to try to take the charge, but the official had another idea. So there is Seifring. I mentioned he plays a lot bigger, taller than what he is. He's a strong, stocky player, able to get it up and off the glass. He's going for the old-fashioned three-point play.
He is the leading scorer at 10 points a game for Wapak, but if you look at their scoring, they are a very balanced team. They have a bunch of guys that are 7, 8, 10 points a game.
Yep.
And yeah, which is sometimes good.
Eccles with the thievery and the hoop once again. Coach Hagemeyer just cannot find out the right combination to get that ball across midfield. St. Mary's in trouble again. The Wapakoneta student section weighing in on the turnover bugaboo for the Rough Riders. And here we are, Goulet in transition, up and in.
And Coach Hagemeyer is going to have to call
first
timeout.
lead, 17-15 on that Fowler's TV scoreboard, all due to St. Mary's not being able to take care of the ball.
Right.
We'll go ahead and take timeout, come back and talk about this when we come back in.
Here at TLC, we expanded our business, so we wanted the security of knowing exactly where all the kids are and what's going on in each of the rooms. We chose Fowler's because we've done all our televisions with them, and they mentioned they have security systems. So we just wanted to go out and look at it, and they were very upfront, and they do excellent work from start to finish. And so we chose Fowler's TV. It's been great for us here at TLC Learning Center, and Fowler's TV would be great.
Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success, and supporter of the Rider Nation and St. Mary's community.
All righty, we're back here at Grand Lake Health System Court. Derek, we mentioned, I think the last time we were at 4 turnovers for the Rough Riders, and then we saw maybe 3 pretty much right in a row. Where are we total right now for the Rough Riders?
Yeah, we've quickly climbed up to 8. We'd kind of stemmed the tide, I think, a little bit, but now back to old habits, turning it over. And, that's just something that the Rough Riders, you're not able to take advantage of what you're good at in the half court down at the blocks if you can't get into your offense.
And Kyle Steininger is back in for the Rough Riders, and the limited action that he did see in the second quarter, thought he did a nice job of getting the ball across half court, and so we're going to see whether or not he can get that done as Anksman fires it over to Steininger. And let's give credit to the Redskins. They know they've got to expose that weakness as we have another turnover trying to lob it into Anksman at the top of the key. And oh, beautiful pass, not getting back. There's Seifring down the court. Nice bounce pass, I might add. Easy 2 points. Redskins extend their lead to 4. And Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Parks maybe only has 3 shot attempts.
He's only got 4 points, and he's only missed that one, so.
Oh, Reineke's going to answer, though, underneath. He's going to get the points underneath and the and one opportunity. Yeah, so we've played almost 14 minutes, and I believe Austin only has 3 shot attempts. Good on 2 of those. And that's can't get into the offense.
It's because of the defense. It's definitely because of the defense.
Reineke cannot make good on the and one situation.
I think that's the recipe right there for the Rough Riders, is if they're going to pressure you, you've got to go at the rim, because there's not going to be any help if they're all out on the perimeter.
Niekamp with a 3 ball. No, there's Bowers with a rebound and a foul on Goulet.
We don't right now have a ton of ball handling on the court. So there is a lot of pressure on Sullivan right now to handle everything. Now coming up and setting some ball screens at about midcourt sometimes helps that.
And we made the adjustment after the first time out of having Parks come up and be the first entry pass. I wonder what the possibility that we might see him be the second pass in the middle of the court, turn, and have the guy streaking down left or right.
Bowers cash in a couple free throws.
Don't know what the answer is, but Coach Hagemeyer is going to need to find one as the Redskins have this game tied up 19-19. We're at the minute-and-a-half mark in the first half. Sullivan working against Goulet. Goulet loves to penetrate.
Rough Riders are getting a little more spread out than they were early in the game.
The long arm of Evan Angstman with the thievery, takes it to the hoop, and yes! Nice spin move.
Nice spin move by the sophomore.
Puts it up, and he was on that mission to get to the hoop, and he does so and is rewarded with the opportunity with the old-fashioned three-point play.
Absorbed a little contact there. And if you look at the Riders' free throw shooting during the course of the season, basically it's Austin Parks shooting a ton of shots, nobody else getting to the line much. So that's good. That's literally Angstman's fifth attempt on the year. So
yeah, Moore's trying to reach in against Eccles. Get a little thievery just as his teammate Angstman did the last trip down, which resulted in a three-point effort for the Rough Riders. St. Mary's up 22-19 on that Fowler's TV scoreboard. Seifring kicks out to Goulet. Goulet with the shot fake, goes up hard and puts it up and in. Very quick, athletic, strong move by number 10, Braden Goulet for the Redskins.
We always called that defensively jumping on their toes, which was kind of a no-no.
There's got to be talk right there. Oh, that was pretty much a Wapakoneta should count their blessings that he was ruled being on the baseline and out.
We were going to put a property or a house on Parks Place right there.
Hoping to get some hotels on there as well. Angstman fires up the three from the handoff, and he's fouled. He's going to go back for three. Goulet makes the Cardinals sin of fouling the three-point shooter.
And Angstman's going to double his free throw attempts on the year here just in a couple possessions, so that's good.
Angstman's sitting at 8 points thus far. Make that 9. And 10. The 6'6" sophomore hits double digits. We haven't seen much of the other 6'6" sophomore.
No. Angstman has a show of confidence right now, which is great. You know, putting the ball up when he's open and taking the ball to the basket. Now, I'm not sure that we need him 40 feet from the basket out. Yeah.
Picking up a cheap foul.
Tried to replicate what he had done a couple other possessions before and pick the ball away and get to the hoop. Picks up his second foul. Number 4, senior Kyle Steiniger checks in for Coach Dan Hagemeyer. Stack entry, sideline entry for the Redskins.
Parks was sniffing that long lob off, and he was smelling a dunk if he picked that pass off.
Porter going to attack the basket, find Goulet for the three ball. No. Sullivan with the rebound. St. Mary's escapes 16 minutes with the lead, 25-21. Wapakoneta took a 4-point lead. The Rough Riders were able to get that tied back up and counter that 4-point deficit with a 4-point lead. On the Fowler's TV scoreboard, St. Mary's 25, Redskins 21. We'll be back after our commercial breaks.
Since 1981, Plus One Professionals has serviced St. Mary's and the surrounding area and are ready to meet your real estate needs. They know the real estate market and can help you. Whether you're moving in, moving out, or around the area, Plus One Professionals are ready and eager to help you sell or buy your new home. They operate with the highest level of professionalism, expertise, and honesty as they help make your real estate dream a reality. Call Plus One Professionals at 419-394-7402 in St. Mary's today. Colder weather is just around the corner, and you want to make sure your family's vehicle is tuned up and ready to go. Rabel's Auto Service has been voted the best auto repair center in St. Mary's the last 3 years. And did you know they will pick up and deliver your vehicle for free? Give Rabel's Auto Service a call at 419-394-1624 or stop in and see Jeremy at 1610 Salina Road in St. Mary's. Rabel's Auto Service in St. Mary's. Give them a call today.
At Schaff Auto Sales, we always have a large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles with prices right to fit all budgets. So before you buy, give us a try. See Aaron High, the car guy.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Spees. Welcome to Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
As a family practice, Spees Chiropractic welcomes in patients of all ages. Whether this is your first time or you've done this before, Dr. Spees and his compassionate staff are here for you. What makes Spees Chiropractic unique is their 3-tier approach. By using chiropractic care alongside massage therapy and physical therapy, all your healthcare needs will be treated compassionately and comprehensively. Spees Chiropractic. Make the right choice for your care.
Friends of the St. Mary's Theater need your financial help to secure a state grant, which we need to raise $500,000 in individual contributions by the end of 2021. Any donation is welcome, and suggested donations, which can be pledged, are $200, $1,823, $2,023, and beyond. Send a check to Friends of St. Mary's Theater, P.O. Box 382, St. Mary's, Ohio, or visit us at grandoperahouselive.com to make an online payment to the 501c3. See more on our Facebook page at Grand Opera House Live. The time is now to make this happen.
Varsity Lanes, home of the Rough Riders 2018-19 boys girls state bowling champions. Striking up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials with a great family atmosphere. Carry out is available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Riders!
Albert Sporting Goods is here to outfit your team, both on and off the field. Since 1980, Albert Sporting Goods has serviced schools, clubs, and businesses throughout Ohio. For all of your uniform, spirit wear, and equipment needs, make it Albert Sporting Goods. Order online now at albertsportinggoods.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Alrighty, back here at Grand Lake Health System Court where the St. Mary's Memorial Rough Riders 25, the Wapakoneta Redskins 21. And before we talk about the first half, I just said the St. Mary's Memorial Rough Riders. KJ, part of this Hall of Fame obsession.
It is an obsession now.
And for those of you, make certain that if you can't make it to St. Mary's for the Hall of Fame induction on January 8th, tune in. We will have it here. But it truly has become an obsession. But I had to dig into the Evening Leader newspaper and read the St. Mary's at Salina 1950-51 season account because we had a game film that we just couldn't figure something out. And the sports writer referred to St. Mary's, and this is St. Mary's' sports writer, as the Memorial Lights. Not once, but twice in that article, the St. Mary's Memorial Lights. And that was kind of a lot of fun reading from 1951 about that account, and St. Mary's was successful.
St. Mary's did win the game.
Yes, and they won the WBL and the traveling trophy.
Yes, and that was without their leading scorer.
And that's what we had to find was on the game film. We could not find him, and we're wondering what happened. Do we have the right team even? And we found in that newspaper account that he apparently only missed one game, and it was the Salina game, and it was due to illness, so he did not get a play, and that would be our first inductee January 8th. Dean Cook. So let's talk about the present here. And St. Mary's, fortunately, going into the locker room possessing a 4-point lead over the Redskins. And it's going to be a battle for the next 16 minutes. And the game plan is evident for Wapakoneta is harass, pressure, try to get the Rough Riders into turnover and make that transition into points for the Redskins and not allow St. Mary's to get into a half-court offense.
Right. And at this end of the court, it's going to be spread them out and make them come out on them and then drive to the basket. Hopefully they can get them spread out enough to open up some driving lanes and cash in and get to the foul line, which they have done a little bit.
And I didn't get it all done right at the start of the game, but the keys to the game for St. Mary's, we said Parks. I think he's sitting on 3 shot attempts, making good of 2, which one was a thunderous baseline dunk. Then key number 2 was Turner and the perimeter. Sophomore Evan Angsman has done his contribution that was needed, but really not seeing the offensive results that we need out of the other 3 on the court, and to stay out of out of foul trouble. And for the most part done that. I think Angsman maybe has 2 fouls. For Walpock, I said Goulet, but they've done a nice job of distributing out points, and he's made some very athletic moves to the hoop. But this is the important key for Walpock, and it's what they've displayed in the first 16 minutes. Make somebody other than Austin Parks beat you.
Right.
And they've got to limit second chance opportunities, and they've done that.
They've done that.
We'll go to Derek. I don't really think St. Mary's has really scored, or shot too much overall. Our points have come with some transition turnover points. But Derek, let's go ahead and talk statistics of the first 16 minutes.
Evan Angsman, as we talked about just a little bit ago, leads the Rough Riders with 11 points on 3 of 5 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line. Austin Parks, Jace Turner with 4. Brandon Bowers, Sullivan, and Reineke all with 2. The Rough Riders are shooting 9 of 17 from the field and 6 for 7 from the free throw line, both stats that Coach Hegemeyer should be happy with. But they do have 9 turnovers, and that's just something that's got to be corrected for as they move into the third quarter. Wapakoneta is led by Braden Goulet with 8, Taylor Eccles with 4, Caden Seifring also with 4, Zach Niekamp, Grant Bauer with 2, and Zach Rogers with 1. The Redskins are shooting 8 of 19 from the field, 4 of 7 from the line with 6 turnovers.
And the Redskins had their turnovers early, and then they kind of calmed down and started taking care of the ball a little more, and totally changed places with the Riders. So the Riders didn't start out the game with that, and I don't know if it was a timeout or just as kids came off the floor. Obviously, Coach Elker said, hey, we got to intensify our defense a little bit, and they did.
And kind of, as you were saying that, one of the spark plugs, I think, that came in for Wapakoneta to intensify that defense, full court pressure, is number 1, Taylor Eccles, a 5'8" sophomore.
Just
and
a sophomore.
He had a little bit of a feeding frenzy of.
He's got 3 steals on the game already.
Yes.
And the program lists him at 130 pounds, which that might even be a stretch there. That's when he's wearing his shoes and his warm-up jersey. But yeah,
he's done a very, very nice job
of
baseline to baseline.
Just getting, we always called it getting in their shorts, and he is up in their shorts and just harassing them beyond belief.
Our schedule for next week, Tuesday night, we'll be bringing you the girls basketball game versus Bell Fountain, and then Thursday, the boys basketball host the Marion Local Flyers. And KJ, the JV contest, I believe, was won by Wapakoneta.
49-43.
49-43. Other scores?
Last night, the Rough Rider girls had a resounding 54-27 victory over Wapakoneta. Morgan Hesse with an outstanding game. And they all made it a complete week with a 59-37 victory over Fort Recovery on Tuesday. Our wrestlers picked up a 46-28 win over Wapak last night as well. They are now 3-0 in the WBL.
3 big wins for the wrestlers. Those are the 3 top teams in the WBL, so they've positioned themselves quite well. Goulet with passing over to Quarter, fires it over to Rogers for 3. No, chased down by Jace Turner, who's back in, and very wisely throws it off the knees of Quarter as Turner rebounded, was off balance, and in the corner.
Wapak has not shot well from the perimeter, which is definitely a big plus for St. Mary's. Still back to man.
Got in the half court. Offensive set. Angsman to Parks.
Tried the same spin move that he did in the first half, and obviously
And Coach Elker may have talked about that a little bit at halftime. They were very much ready for that.
Yep.
Seifring with that very daunting task of trying to stop Parks, and he, along with his full court pressure of his other teammates, have done a nice job thus far. Turner back into the lineup. It's all the original starters, and you know, Derek, as you were, blocked by Parks. Seifring makes a nice move to the hoop, but Parks blocks it, tied up by Turner and Quarter. St. Mary's with possession. But as you were given the stats, you mentioned that Turner had 4 points, and I had to think about it because he wasn't in a whole lot, but he had 4 points real quick in the first quarter underneath the basket where he caught the ball, kept it above his head, and put it off the glass. Feed it inside to Parks. Parks doesn't put it on the floor, puts it up short, but there's Sullivan. He's in traffic. And Wapak, number 13, I believe, Grant Bauer, is going to get called for a foul.
Coach Hagemeyer is complaining a little bit about the jersey pulling that's going on inside a little bit.
That foul actually ended up going on Braden Goulet, which is his 3rd.
Oh.
Making that a pretty big call.
Another turnover. They just collapsed on him, got the ball knocked away.
Yep, got 2 guys on him.
And then unfortunately, as Parks was diving for the loose ball, he gets tagged with a foul.
That last possession, Evan Angsman brought the ball up against pressure, which again, bringing the big man up against somebody who's a little less of a defender, which is great to be able to ease the pressure on our guards. And right now, we got this 4-corner-ish type of offense for the Redskins.
They're after spacing, getting the defense spaced more importantly, and finding a lane to attack, or finding a lane to attack the lane.
And the Riders just have to make sure that they're not getting too spread out.
Goulet fires up that 3 ball, no good. 2 Redskins fight for the offensive rebound. Seifring and Quarter, but goes out on one of them, St. Mary's ball. We're still sitting at the same score we sat at the conclusion of the first half, 25-21 on the Fowler TV scoreboard. Sullivan. Angsman to Parks. Looked like Parks kind of got hit on the arm as he was going up. No foul, but he makes good on his 3rd basket. 6 points for Parks.
Coach Hagemeyer definitely not happy with the lack of calls on the contact.
But with that contact by by Grant Bauer, he gets tagged with the offensive player control foul.
And that's Evan Angsman with his second charge.
Taking the charge.
Yeah.
Gotta love seeing that. Turnover against the Redskins with the good defensive play by Angsman. Yeah, so hopefully this is going to be relinquished a little bit, all of the hand checking and bodying that the Redskins have been doing to try to turn the ball over on the Rough Riders.
Jackson Quarter guarding Angsman, and he's a 6'5". Oh,
that's good basketball.
Good,
that's
good.
Textbook right there. Angsman
in and out.
Throws the ball in from half court, triggering it in to Parks. Parks back to Angsman. However, Quarter says,
Quarter's right back at
I'll
you.
match you. And he does.
Yeah, Quarter's a 6'5" junior and not quite as much pressure as those other guards.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my key number 2 for Wapak. Make somebody other than Parks beat you.
Angsman stepping up.
Angsman is going to be that somebody else. 16 points for the sophomore. Quarter's going to fire up, try to duplicate, and he does his three-point shot.
2 in a row.
Andrew Moore triggers it in to the corner to Parks. Parks puts the ball on the floor, being bodied by Seifring, and Seifring's going to get called for the foul. Lots of noise on both sides of the court.
Both sides,
for,
nobody's happy.
That foul.
And Coach Elkert's justifiably so saying, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't being called in the first half. So, yeah, we need a little consistency here. The referees obviously trying to clean things up. They don't want it to start getting chippy.
Yep. And they need to clean up, and we said from the get-go, you know, that this is going to be a battle because both teams in the opening WBL lost. They're 0-1, and they do not want to go to 0-2 as Parks goes to work, puts it up off the rim multiple times, but there's Turner with the offensive rebound, no, and last touch by Sullivan. Going to be the Redskins' ball. 2 great looks by the Rough Riders underneath, could not capitalize on those. Redskins' ball down 5.
Those are the kind of opportunities right there as you're sifting back through tape the next day that kind of makes your stomach hurt a little bit. Shots that you definitely should have made.
Goulet working against Sullivan. Nothing fancy here about this offense, just trying to find an open seam, see if they can attack the paint. Keep the defense spread out. And now the Wapakoneta Redskin fans are happy because the foul was called against the Rough Riders. More for body checking.
And again, it was a pretty touchy foul, but he did call it the other possession, and they're obviously trying to clean things up just a little bit. As a player, you got to know what's happening and play accordingly.
Boy, that was a beautiful dribbling display by Goulet. He just could not make the floater work out. Rebound by the Rough Riders. Parks into Sullivan. Sullivan up with the left, but there's Turner on the right side. No good, but he's going to be fouled by number 12, Zach Neat. Maybe 14. Jackson Quarter.
These, I think, are Turner's first free throws on the season, if I'm reading my stat sheet right here.
Wow, that's shocking.
That is. He makes good on the first free throw attempt.
Free throw, Chase Turner.
Seifring back in. Buchanan takes a seat for the Redskins. Turner dips, flips, and hard on the second free throw attempt. Goulet going to work against Sullivan. Wapakoneta being patient. Goulet.
Seifring remembers the last time he penetrated there and thought he had a little lane and still got it swatted.
Niekamp fires it up, hard back iron, fight for the rebound. So now we've got our scrum going on, and it's going to be a foul against Porter. So I believe we've got Goulet with 3 fouls and Porter with 3 fouls at the 2:03 mark in the third quarter. We'll see how that plays out with 10 minutes and 3 seconds of action left in this second half.
The Redskins
and maybe more importantly, 6 team fouls for the Redskins. You know, they
Yes.
might hit the bonus before the fourth quarter even starts.
So we replaced a 6'5" quarter with 5'11" Rogers.
Looks like they maybe called a push-off.
I think they're still discussing it. I know one thing, Coach Hagemeyer does not agree with that call. As the student section does not either.
Yeah.
Oh, nice almost pick by Sullivan. Goulet going down the other way, kicks out to Niekamp. To Seafring. Seafring goes in, a lot of traffic. That's got, oh my! Sullivan gets up quickly, upset. Boy, I thought St. Mary's was going to pick up taking the third charge, but it's ruled as a block. Derek, what'd you think on that?
I think maybe not even as much of being set. He was out of control. I would have called him for an offensive.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have called a travel before anything. I think he had done a run and jump, landed before contact was made.
Well, in the words of Rasheed Wallace, ball don't lie.
Now, being a Coach Janitas player, and I was instructed to take many charges, which most of them were blocks. I hated when it was a travel call.
Oh, yeah. You just took the you were like, what was his name? Was it Ogilvy and the Bad News Bears when he told him to lean in and get hit every time?
Yep.
Yeah. Spinny, lean in there and get that charge.
So another turnover. St. Mary's had controlled the turnovers pretty well in the third quarter, but kind of a poor time to have a turnover with 1.5 minutes to go in this third quarter.
Coach Hagemeyer took out Braden Sullivan because he was getting a little frustrated, and I think he was trying to save a technical foul.
Yeah, he got it pretty quickly and pretty aggravated that was not a charge.
And certainly right now is not the time when we need a technical called.
A little bit of a different offensive flow and look for the Redskins right now. A kick out to Eccles, fires up. Ew, good. There's Turner.
We've been sitting on 33 for a while. The Riders could really use a score here.
Inside the park. Hanksman with the baseline jump shot. Good.
And that pull-up is not something that we see often from Evan Hanksman. A great thing to add to his repertoire there. A little pull-up jump shot. Old school.
That is old school, and it looked like he's performed that shot many times in practice because he looked pretty fluid in making that.
Redskins being real patient here as the clock winds down in the third quarter.
Kicks out to Eccles, left side, three-pointer, no, and there's Parks with the rebound. St. Mary's holding on to a 7-point lead on the Fowler TV, 35-28. We'll be back to bring you the fourth quarter.
Buffalo Wild Wings and St. Mary's, proud to support Rough Rider Athletics and the Memorial Student Athletes. Join Buffalo Wild Wings for each Rough Riders football game, streamed on Rider Nation Station. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, drinks, sports.
Do you find yourself faced with injustice or confronted with a legal matter that you need help resolving? If so, call attorney David Wabacher at 216-225-9181. That's attorney David Walbacher for all your legal needs.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a middle school and high school club looking to spread God's love throughout numerous schools and communities of our local area. FCA's favorite play of the game is both teams joining together in prayer at the conclusion of the game. God bless you, sports fans.
Alrighty, back here for the fourth final quarter at Grand Lake Health System Court. St. Mary's 35, Redskins 28. Tuesday night, we'll be bringing you girls basketball action as Bell Fountain comes to Grand Lake Health System Court. And then Thursday, the 23rd, the Marion Local Flyers take on our boys here at Grand Lake Health System Court. Well, St. Mary's made some needed adjustments.
Had a fairly low scoring quarter with the Rough Riders 10 and Redskins just 7.
Hanksman having a great game, gets a block shot against number 3, Zach Rogers. We got a 30-second timeout. We're just going to stay right here. KJ, we've got the boys traveling to Parkway tomorrow. Mentioned that we've got the girls next Tuesday versus Bell Fountain, the boys against Marion Local. Then we've got Christmas break time. The girls, other than that game they probably wish they had back against Kalida.
Yes.
That's the only loss that they've had.
They are on a roll of sorts.
Low-scoring affair when they lost that to Kalida game 2.
Yes. Gotten the ship righted here a little bit and have some games, and I'm sure they're looking ahead to January 6th when they travel to Ottawa Glandorf. So I'm sure they have that one marked on the calendar.
Goulet with the three-pointer from the right side, no good. Bowers, who just checked in with a big defensive rebound and gives it to Sullivan, who's back in. Coach Hagermeyer wanted to get him a little bit back in the right mental state. Evan Hanksman fires up the trifecta. He hits it, extends that St. Mary's lead to 10. 21 points for the 6'6" sophomore.
Coming out of sorts for Evan tonight. That basket's looking really, really big for him.
But just like last time he hit a 3, Wapak matched it.
Yes.
Rogers does it this time after the Hanksman three-pointer.
Wapak's done a really nice job of kind of staying right in the game. Haven't let themselves get down too far so far, at least.
Hanksman inside to Parks.
Nice
Parks up and in. Good entry pass to the big man. Immediately puts it up off the glass. 8 points now for Austin Parks.
We always called that winning the block, and if you look at where he received the ball, he won the block, and that is hard to stop anybody when they get it that low.
Goulet kicks to Rogers. Rogers baseline, puts it up, and no good. Sullivan there with the rebound.
And getting one shot only right now, which is great for the Riders. And I hesitate to say this, but the Redskins were 6 of 10 from three-point land against OG last week. They are not hitting any of those shots, and that's what they're getting right now. You know, they're driving and kicking, and right now just not hitting those shots, which is obviously great news for the Rough Riders.
But they do have the ability to heat up.
Right, so it's not like we want to sit there and let them test the wind and give them wide open shots. We got Austin Parks shooting some free throws, which he hasn't done yet tonight.
Makes good on the first one. Derek, how many turnovers did St. Mary's have in the third quarter? I think we're at 9 at the half.
Yeah, we have 4 in the third quarter. but knock on wood here, none so far in the fourth.
Austin looked great with those free throws there, 2 for 2.
We often talked in college about the importance of not only scoring, but as you close games of getting stops, maybe score and then solidify it with another stop.
Yep.
In the last couple of possessions, the Rough Riders defensively have really locked down and done a nice job. It's how you keep your lead.
But Seafring trying to negate that with that 3-point shot, 8 points for Seafring.
And he is their leading scorer on the season at 10 points a game.
Yep. Sullivan gets called for the foul, trying to use too much arm extension to keep the defender away, and it got pretty close to a full stiff arm.
Yeah. Take that Heisman pose and really stick his arm out there.
I'm sure Braden probably doesn't like that call, but anytime as an offensive player that you extend that arm out like that, it's probably going to get called.
Step back 3 for Rogers, no. Rebound by Quarter. Goulet with the ball above his head to Seafring. Back into kind of the four corners. Weave up top, spacing out the Rough Rider defense.
Dean Smith would be happy with this. If they started running a bunch of back doors, then we could call it the Princeton offense. But
so Sullivan gets called with the foul. That's going to be his fourth. Checking in for Bowers is Turner, and checking in for Sullivan, Steiniger. 42-34 on the Fowler TV scoreboard, 4:45 to go. St. Mary's trying to improve their WBL record to 1-1. Quarter with the three-pointer, short. Wapakoneta trying to prevent their WBL record from going to 0-2. Reineke inside to Parks. Seafring's going to get called for that foul, and Seafring, it's going to be
his third
foul. So I believe we got Goulet, Quarter, and Seafring with 3 fouls at the 4:26 mark.
And Bauer.
Lots of threes. Parks back to the charity stripe. He eyes it. He flies it hard off the back iron. Bring it across half court. Goulet to Bauer. That's going to be saved by Goulet into the awaiting hands of Seafring.
Steiniger in for Sullivan and kind of maintaining that good ball pressure from the guard spot.
Seafring into the paint, gets stopped. Bauer dribbles, gets knocked off his leg. Parks got a big paw on that ball, off the leg of Bauer. Turnover, Redskins at a pivotal time. They chewed up a decent amount of clock on that offensive possession and got nothing.
Right. And, we look at the scoreboard, and, my math's not great. I was an English teacher, but, with an 8-point lead, suddenly time is going to start to come into play here a little bit. The Riders don't need to be in a hurry to score.
That's the pass you cannot make, but Steiniger bails out more on that pass.
And the Riders are now going to be shooting 2, which is a big thing right now.
Coach Hagemeyer came a few steps off of the sideline to explain to his senior, don't make that pass again.
Yeah. No, we're 1 off of shooting 2, right?
Yep, that's 9.
Yeah.
Steiniger gets on the scoreboard with his free throw. Free throw is always important, never so important as you're trying to close out a game.
Right. It's gonna come down this last 3:30. It's gonna come down to hitting free throws and not turning the ball over. And hopefully the Riders can make them chew up a little clock down here on offense.
That's been the downside of what Wapak's been trying to do offensively, is just take so much time. And with 3 minutes left, down 10, that's not something they have the luxury of right now.
Quarter working against Turner. Free throw line, has to kick it out to Goulet. Goulet gets stopped.
He may have gotten away with a little shuffle there.
Yeah, Derek, to your point, how much time have they gone through? They put up a shot, no good. Last 2 times, they've chewed up a bunch of time off the clock and come up with no points.
Right there is just over 30 seconds.
Inside the Parks, turns, kicks out to Turner.
Patience. We don't have to shoot right now.
There it is.
Triple team. Steininger smartly pulls it back out.
Nice patient possession here for the Rough Riders.
Yep, he was tempted.
That's laid up nicely by Parks. I think there was some mugging going on down there, and he was just able to get up and over the rim.
He was not able to get up to put that ball down because the guy was grabbing him, you know.
Rogers' three-point shot, no good. Goulet working against Steininger, and it's going to go off the foot of Goulet. Goulet saying, I got hammered on that rebound attempt, and the official said, St. Mary's ball.
On that last possession, Kyle Steininger wisely, and he was open, but wisely did a little pump fake and said, no, baby, no, I'm not going to shoot this one.
He probably really wanted to.
He wanted to.
The smart offensive play there was to pull it back out. All righty, Coach Hagemeyer calls a timeout. We'll be back right after this.
Here at TLC, we expanded our business, so we wanted the security of knowing exactly where all the kids are and what's going on in each of the rooms. We chose Fowler's because we've done all our televisions with them, and they mentioned they have security systems. So we just wanted to go out and look at it, and they were very upfront, and they do excellent work from start to finish. And so we chose Fowler's TV. It's been great for us here at TLC Learning Center, and then Fowler's TV would be great for it.
Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success, and supporter of the Rider Nation and St. Mary's community.
All righty, we're back here. 1:57 to go in this fourth and final quarter. League game number 2. Both St. Mary's and Wapakoneta had losses in the opening week of WBL play. St. Mary's hoping to come out 1-1 after week 2, as is Wapakoneta. St. Mary's leading on the Fowler TV scoreboard 46-34. Taking care of the ball, making free throws. That's your recipe for victory for the St. Mary's Memorial Lights.
Andrew Moore with the baseball pass there. Got an easy target, just throw it up high. Coach Hagemeyer going with a little more ball handling here.
Hanksman tried to dribble inside, gets it stolen away. Going up off the thievery and in is Grant Bauer. 2 things St. Mary's didn't need there was to lose the ball.
A lot of coaches will use the term live ball turnover there. Not only do you turn it over, but the turnover leads itself right to an easy shot.
Bowers with the and one. No. Bails out. The turnover there a little bit for St. Mary's, and Steininger working across the mid-court line against Eccles. Eccles, he was the spark plug in the first half for the Redskins, trying to make it happen again with 1:18 to go.
Austin Parks came up, set a nice screen to kind of relieve some pressure. Getting a lot of double teams here. Riders have to be very strong with the ball. little back and forth from the cheering sections, and hopefully it doesn't get too inappropriate at any point in time here.
Steininger makes good on his third free throw here late in the game.
And Kyle's done a nice job here.
Taking care of the ball.
Yes, settling the Riders down, not throwing the ball away, kind of giving a sense of calm in a very hectic situation. And taking him out right now for Sullivan, but Coach Hagemeyer's got to be real pleased with his effort here the last couple minutes.
Beckles working against Reineke. Wapak has not been able to get a shot off quick. Delay dribbles down the left side, lays it up short. Reineke with the rebound. St. Mary's 48, Wapakoneta 36.
And the Riders are going to play keep away here for a little bit.
Nice step through by Reineke there, keeping his composure and trying to step through that double team. Gets hammered, and then gets hammered after the hammer had already occurred. That's the worst.
Elbows out and step through. Boy, that's like junior high textbook practice thing that we did. And I think these may be Gavin's first free throws of the season as well.
One thing I like to see out of these free throw attempts, we're making them.
Yes. Although I was accused of jinxing.
You did jinx.
Yes.
You are the Sports Illustrated jinx. Hanksman adds one more stat to his solid game, which is another pick.
And Jace Turner wisely held it up and said we just need to run the clock out here. Got a little sloppy putting the ball over our head, which is a kind of a bad habit to do, but hopefully Sully can cash in a couple more free throws here. And Coach Hagee is emptying the bench a little bit.
Taking a seat, number 35, Austin Parks. Number 24, Evan Anksman. Sullivan makes good on his free throw attempt. Again, one of the keys for Wapak was to make somebody other than Parks beat you, and unfortunately they found somebody.
Yeah, and I think Coach Hagemeyer, when Evan Anksman came off the floor here, was probably saying that, hey, you can do this every night.
Yep. Bauer kicks out to Reineke. Reineke, three ball, no good. Rebounded by Reineke. And the time expires. St. Mary's improves its WBL record to 1-1. Overall record 4-1. Wapakoneta slips to 0-2 in league play, and overall 3-2 for the season. We'll take a break, come back with Derek J. on the statistics of tonight's game.
Since 1981, Plus One Professionals has serviced St. Mary's and the surrounding area and are ready to meet your real estate needs. They know the real estate market and can help you. Whether you're moving in, moving out, or around the area, Plus One Professionals are ready and eager to help you sell or buy your new home. They operate with the highest level of professionalism, expertise, and honesty as they help make your real estate dream a reality. Call Plus One Professionals at 419-394-7402 in St. Mary's today. Colder weather is just around the corner, and you want to make sure your family's vehicle is tuned up and ready to go. Rabel's Auto Service has been voted the best auto repair center in St. Mary's the last 3 years. And did you know they will pick up and deliver your vehicle for free? Give Rabel's Auto Service a call at 419-394-1624 or stop in and see Jeremy at 1610 Salina Road in St. Mary's. Rabel's Auto Service in St. Mary's. Give them a call today.
At
Schaff Auto Sales, we always have a large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles with prices right to fit all budgets. So before you buy, give us a try. See Aaron High, the car guy.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Spees. Welcome to Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
As a family practice, Spees Chiropractic welcomes in patients of all ages. Whether this is your first time or you've done this before, Dr. Spees and his compassionate staff are here for you. What makes Spees Chiropractic unique is their three-tier approach. By using chiropractic care alongside massage therapy and physical therapy, all your healthcare needs will be treated compassionately and comprehensively. Spees Chiropractic. Make the right choice for your care.
Friends of the St. Mary's Theater need your financial help to secure a state grant, which we need to raise $500,000 in individual contributions by the end of 2021. Any donation is welcome, and suggested donations, which can be pledged, are $200, $1,823, $2,023, and beyond. Send a check to Friends of St. Mary's Theater, P.O. Box 382, St. Mary's, Ohio, or visit us at grandoperahouselive.com to make an online payment to the 501c3. See more on our Facebook page at Grand Opera House Live. The time is now to make this happen.
Varsity Lanes, home of the Rough Riders 2018-19 Boys and Girls State Bowling Champions. Striking up delicious food, 32 taps, Queen of Hearts, and nightly food and drink specials with a great family atmosphere. Carry out is available. Stop in and see us after the game. Go Riders! Alrighty, thanks to all of our fine sponsors for allowing Rider Nation Station to bring to you today and for tomorrow and 50 years down the road, St. Mary's Memorial Sports. St. Mary's was victorious tonight. St. Mary's girls victorious last night, and St. Mary's wrestlers victorious last night. So they pulled off the trifecta against the cross-county rivalry Wapakoneta Redskins, and it wasn't easy tonight, but they persevered, made the adjustments at halftime, and took care of the ball a lot better. And our statistician Derek J will talk about how we were able to win tonight's basketball game, statistically speaking.
The Rough Riders, who shot 16 for 28 from the field on the game for 57%, were led by Evan Anksman with 21 points, followed by Austin Parks with 12. Then a whole host of guys in the low single digits, Jace Turner with 5, Reineke Sullivan and Steininger all with 4, and Brandon Bowers with 2. The Rough Riders finished with 15 turnovers, a number that is pretty solid, especially considering those 9 first-half turnovers. They also did a really nice job on the glass tonight, out-rebounding the Redskins by 10. I think, that's a nice job, not only showing that you're being aggressive at the rim, but also that you're getting stops on the defensive end. The Redskins were led by Braden Goulet and Caden Seifring, both with 8. And the Redskins shot 13 for 41 from the field for 31%. Like I said, just great defense by the Rough Riders, especially in the second half, getting stops.
KJ, your assessment of the first half and the second half and overall for the Rough Riders?
Obviously, the Riders are still searching for that, I don't want to say magic bullet, but what they can do when that intense guard pressure comes out, and they're going to see it every game.
That's most definitely.
That is now the scouting reports are out, and I thought in the first half, we, especially late first quarter and into the most of the way through the second quarter, we did not do a good job of handling pressure. I thought we came out in the second half and did much, much better. We just, we had Anksman brought the ball up several times, did a nice job. Sullivan kind of settled down a little bit. Kyle Steininger came in and gave some very good quality minutes handling the ball, and we trimmed the turnovers down a little bit. And Obviously, once we get into the half-court situation, we're getting a little bit better shots, but we got to get to that point first.
Yep, and it's, as you mentioned, and it's going to be emphasized and re-emphasized, this is what St. Mary's is going to see every game.
Right.
And so Coach Hagemeyer's got to get that right chemistry out there and the right ball handlers to be able to take that pressure from baseline to baseline and getting that offensive set and let Parks go to work. And if they're going to double and triple team him, they're going to jam down every opportunity. You've got to have somebody who's going to beat you. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight it was a no-doubter that number 24, Evan Anksman, was that person. Poured in 21 points, numerous steals, and I believe 2 charges.
2 charges.
Took 2 charges. I mean, he had the quintessential all-around game that any coach and any fan is looking for from a basketball player. And so that's what it's going to take. And Parks quietly got his 8 points?
12 points.
12 points.
12 points, yep.
And, you know, that's a nice combination there. And so it was neat to see the Rough Riders. They lost the lead in the second quarter. They ended up going down 4 points. And it really looked like the wheels were coming off of the bus. But they got redirected. Their composure came back. They quickly flipped that back on an 8-point run, and they were up 4.
And a lot of that came from the defensive end.
Yes.
So suddenly we got some stops, got some rebounds, limited them to 1, and then we're able to come down and cash in on the offensive end.
St. Mary's JV team lost 49-43. Catch us Tuesday night as we will bring to you the girls basketball game versus Bell Fountain. And Thursday, December 23rd, the Marion Local Flyers will take on our boys Rough Rider basketball team. We'll bring you that action as well.
I assume they're just starting their season.
Yes. Well, good night, everybody. For Derek J., Kelly J., I'm Doug Spencer. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.